guys, so first of all, I'm sorry the lighting is not very good. It's dark outside, so I kind of had to make do. And the other thing is I am basically ready for bed, so that's why I look like this. But I wanted to do a vlog about the wedding because it's got to happen sometime. Now, let me just start off by saying that even though, you know, it wasn't as we expected it to be, we are married, all that's good, and everything is okay now. So, you know, it just is what it is. It's how life goes. But it's definitely a story to tell, and it definitely wasn't how we had hoped it would be and envisioned it would be, but it turned out very interesting. And some people really enjoyed the excitement, I guess. So it's a story to tell. So I thought I would tell it so I can get that out there. In the meantime, I also, you'll understand why in a minute once I explain the whole thing, but I didn't film anything. I entirely forgot that I owned anything that could film or take pictures of anything. The photographer took pictures, and my mom took pictures at the rehearsal dinner, and a friend of mine took a few pictures, but that's about as much as we have. But it'll all make sense to you, I swear. So, let's just start at the beginning, shall we? So we started off on Saturday with the rehearsal dinner, and everybody came. We had about 20 or so people. We had Steve's mom, sister, dad, dad's wife, his brother, his brother's wife. Then we had some of my friends, 3 of my closest friends. A couple of them brought their boyfriends. And then my brother, his girlfriend, my mom, my dad, and then Steve's grandma. She showed up and surprised us, which was incredible. We didn't think she was coming because she had to fly in, and she told Steve that the weather was bad and that was just not something she could make happen. But then I guess everybody knew about it. My whole family knew, Steve's whole family knew, and she came in anyway and surprised us, and that was awesome. Steve was so excited. I was so excited because we love her, and it was just great that she was able to come out and be there for all this. So that was really cool. She came right just when everyone was arriving for dinner. She just arrived with Steve's dad, and we just saw her walk up, and it was so cool. So that was I don't know why they kept it a secret, but it was definitely a good surprise. So that happened. Those were all the people that were there, and we were at my parents' house, and my mom made all this great food. It was really delicious, and we just wanted, it wasn't like a rehearsal in the sense that we were actually gonna walk through the wedding, but it was more just everyone was coming into town and everyone would have to eat a meal. So we thought, why not host a meal and make it a nice wedding related thing. So that's what we did. And let's see, it was going really well. It was about 9 o'clock. And I just noticed my dad kept getting up, and then eventually he pulled my brother and Steve and I aside, and my mom was already with him, and he was basically like, I've been not feeling well, and I have to go to the hospital, and I'll just leave details of that out because he probably doesn't care, but it doesn't really matter. But the main thing was that he had to go to the hospital. So Steve and him just kind of snuck out and went over to the ER, and I stayed back and I told everybody, and my mom and I told everybody, And I was really upset at that point because, well, I mean, obviously it's, is my dad okay? Because we had no idea what was causing him to be sick like this. And, he had been in Africa, and we just didn't know, like, what could it possibly be. So we were worried about him. He's not the kind of person to just get sick. So it was scary. Cheetah. She's up there crying. Anyway, so we were worried about that. And then at the same time, it's the worry of, like, are we going to be able to have the wedding? Like, what's going to happen? And at first, my parents were saying, oh, we'll just have it. But I didn't want to do that. Like, I didn't want to get married without my dad there. So what we decided was, like, we'll just see what happens if he gets out, because, it happens that people go to the ER and then they get out that same night. So we were like, well, if he gets out, then we'll just do the normal thing. If he doesn't, we'll see what we can do from there. So it was just kind of up in the air at that point. And so basically the dinner was done, so everybody left. Steve and I and my brother and his girlfriend and my mom, we went to the emergency room and just waited for a while. But there was no news that night, so eventually we all went home, because basically they were saying that there's a lot of stuff we were waiting for, and he was in isolation because, of course, we didn't know what it was. So then we went home, and of course I slept 2 hours that night. Steve slept, but it was still, we didn't get home till like midnight or whatever, 11 or 12 or something. And then we were getting up again at 5 because the wedding was meeting at 7 o'clock. So we had to get up early and get ready and drive over there. So he got like 5 hours, and I got like 2, and I don't think my mom slept. So everyone was very tired the next day. So the next morning, he was still in the hospital, and it wasn't looking like he was going to get out. Again, he was just like being really nice about it and basically saying, just do it without me. But again, I didn't want that. So we just decided to go ahead and go do the breakfast, which was going to be the reception, and do that first. And then he was going to see if he could arrange some way to have at least several visitors, because he was still in isolation. We did the breakfast at the inn that we're going to have the wedding at, and we got a bunch of pictures taken and everything. It was nice. They had the whole breakfast, and they had cake and everything. But I'm glad we went, just because I got to see how it could have been, and we got to have all the pictures and all of that. But I wasn't all there at that point because I was so tired. I was still stressed out. I was still worried. And I couldn't really eat any of the food, which is kind of unfortunate, but I couldn't eat at that point. But I wasn't like crying. I was actually just, posing in all the pictures the photographer wanted and all that kind of stuff. So that worked out. And then after that, my dad had arranged that he could get 4 people into his room. And what turned out to be fortunate was that the photographer actually was, he works with my dad in that hospital. So he was able to bring one other person with him, if he went and as a doctor. And so he did. And I'm sorry, I keep having to think about what I want to say. So everybody went over to the hospital, and everyone else was in the lobby. And Steve and I and my mother and his grandmother went up there. And photographer, he works there. And then the officiant came up with us. And we basically said our vows up there. So I guess the official wedding was there in that isolation room. but we couldn't do rings or the kiss or anything because we had full on like those paper gowns on, masks on our faces, gloves, because it was isolation. So we did that. We actually did FaceTime with the people downstairs in the lobby, so they were all able to at least see it. And then we went downstairs, and the officiant sort of did the ceremony a little bit over, and then we did the kiss and the ring. So they got to all be able to see a little bit of the actual, you know, what it was supposed to be ceremony down in the lobby of the hospital. Yeah, and there was all these people walking through that were like stopping to watch, and but you know, we did it. And then everybody went home. So that is what happened with my wedding. My dad's okay now. Like I said at the beginning, everything's okay now. He's out of the hospital now. He got out last night. He's just waiting for some test results to come back, but he's much better. And like I said, some people were, you know, a lot of people saw a sense of adventure in this, and everyone was really supportive and went along with it. So in that sense, it was all good. And of course, you know, we're married now, and that was the whole purpose of this event. So yeah. I have a picture. I'll throw in a picture. I'll see if I have a few. I'm not going to get the official wedding pictures back for several weeks, so I have to wait for those, but I will post them once I have them. But I wanted to do a vlog and just let y'all know, and just also recount the memory for myself how this happened. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys again soon. Bye.